Well, good morning. It is Saturday morning, so it is time to get up, get your sewing stuff on, and hang out with us for a little while. And I am super excited. I have a brand new guest. It is a fairly new YouTuber, but I'm excited to see. I've loved seeing what I've seen so far, and I'm excited to see what Kristin has coming up for us in the near future. But it is none other than KwilterKris. So I'm going to let her introduce herself. So just tell us a little bit about yourself, your channel, and yeah, that's that sort of thing there. So over to you, Kristin.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. Good morning. As Sean mentioned, my channel is KwilterKris, and my name is Kristin. I'm fairly new to YouTube. I started doing my quilting videos about the middle of August this year. So I have been sewing for about, I would say, over 30 years, probably about 35 years. So I started out sewing and making clothes for my children when they were small, and then one day we were at Joann's, and this was about 1998, and I was looking through the pattern books, and strangely enough, I found a pattern for a quilt there in McCall's, and after that, I just started quilting. So that was in 1998. Um, and I feel like I've done just about most types of quilts, although I still, uh, when we go to shows or fairs or whatever, I can still be shocked and awed by the different techniques. But I feel like I've done a lot, have a lot of experience. I love the color and the fabrics and everything. And my quilting channel right now is a lot about doing tutorials and my block of the months and sewing along. I have I have my the block of the months I'm doing paper piecing, so the Tula Pink Dragon Fruit, and then the Fat Quarter Shop Designer Mystery. Those are the two that I'm working on right now. But yeah, that's me, Quilter Chris.
Yeah, and she has a lot of fun stuff there. And I've put in the description. I've also pinned in the comment, well, the live chat. I'll have to put it in the comments as well. I'll link to her channel as well. If you haven't gone over and checked it out, please do so. She has just celebrated her 100th subscriber, and now we've bumped it up just a little bit more already, which is cool. But the other fun project that she has going to start at some point is the 100 Acre Woods.
Yes.
Yes, I saw that video last week, recently anyway.
Mhm.
And I was like, oh, Kristin is doing the 100 Acre Wood along with me. So that is really, really cool. I'm super excited to be able to see that you're joining in on that. So have you started cutting out your fabric yet, or is that still?
I haven't yet. I just got the kit a couple of weeks ago because there was a backlog at Riley Blake and it took a
Mhm.
minute to come out. So I just got the kit. I've looked through the fabric and I've gotten the first two patterns. I think it's Pooh and Piglet
Mhm.
are the first 2 months.
Yep.
So apparently because Riley Blake had such a problem, they're going to send out the rest of the months all at once. So I'll probably get the rest of the months all at once. So the quilt store I bought it from sent me an email about that. So I don't know if you had that same trouble or not with it.
Well, I ordered mine directly from Matt and John over at Art East Quilting Co.
Uh,
And they send out the patterns monthly. So you should
oh,
be receiving the third one, which is Rabbit, fairly soon.
okay.
Um, I think I just put the link in there for everyone if you need it. But yeah, the some of the fabric is like the backing fabric, because I bought the whole thing. I'm
Uh-huh.
including the backing fabric. And the backing fabric is still, I don't know, in a container somewhere. I don't do West Coast shipping, so I don't know where that container is. But I don't need it till May or June. So if it doesn't show up on my doorstep to February, March, April next year, I'm really not that concerned about it because I don't need it right now. So that sort of thing there. But I'm super excited to hear that you are joining in on that fun as well. And if you don't know what we're talking about, this is the 100 Acre Wood sew along. I will show you Pooh there, because that's block number one. I have finished, well, pretty much finished number two, but I want to show that tomorrow's podcast, so that one's going to stay kind of hidden. But this is Pooh with hanging on the balloon, a couple of bees. And I've even got some embroidery there. You can see that on last week's podcast, but that's a lot of fun there as well. So Good morning to Miss Andy. Yeah, let's go ahead and say good morning real quick to everyone that's here. And then we'll go ahead and talk about what we're working on today. I have a fun project lined up, which is a little different to what I normally do. And then we'll see what Kristin's up to as well. But it looks like Andy is here from True Blue Quilts. Good morning to Miss Andy. I'll throw her link in. Chloe Morgan, good morning to you. Good morning to Rob at Quilting in the Man Cave. I'll throw his link in as well. Melissa Feldhouse, good morning. Jeannie E is here. Good morning to Kathleen. It's over there in California. She is up early. Good morning to Russ from Quilt Meets World. He is another wonderful male quilter. If you haven't seen his channel, he has a lot of fun. And he also does a weekly podcast like I do, but he publishes his on a Wednesday night. And he just hit episode 100 a couple of weeks ago, which I think is really, really neat. I remember when he first started, it was really, really fun. Stephen from Blend Designs and the Idiot Quilter is here with us as well, and he has a wonderful channel with something for everybody, so definitely check that out if you haven't done so. Pat Strawhouse is here. Mona did what? Popped in early. She said she'd have to come back and watch the replay because she has to do Driving Miss Daisy today. Michelle the Quilter is here, and I think I caught Nikki B. Good morning to you as well. I think I caught most everybody. I know I'm going to miss people. Good morning to Miss Sandy as well. If I did miss you, if you ever have a question for me that you want me to answer, or if you put it in the chat, but if I miss it, put at the guy who sews, because that way it should pop up me in bright orange and I can see it a little bit easier as well. Good morning, Melanie Taylor, and good morning to Miss Laura. So, Kristin, what did you bring along this morning to work on while we sit and chat and get to know you a little better?
Yeah, I brought this this quilt. It's by Flamingo Toes, Beverly McCullough, and it's called the Tea Party Quilt. And so I've been working on this. It's a gift from my daughter's supervisor. My daughter is active duty, and so she's far from home. And her and her supervisor have become good friends. And so I was making that for her. So yeah, I'm almost done with it. I have several of the parts done. I just need to do the last of the cups there on the teacup quilt.
That looks really fun. I haven't seen that pattern before. You showed me offline right before we started, and that looks like a lot of fun. I've done some teacups and teapot blocks type things with one of the Art East projects from Alice in Wonderland. Actually, it was with the Dormouse, I think it was. And I'm sure it's similar to that. But yeah, they're a lot of fun. And like, it looks complicated, but those things go together, fairly easily, right?
Yeah.
Did you get the same experience with me as that?
I did. This quilt, there's a lot of the cups, so you end up doing them quite often, right? Because there's so many of the cups, and so then you get pretty good at it because you do it so often. But
Right, you can chain piece those too, right? Like you can just
absolutely,
which is good, and like in my experience is good and bad, because sometimes like you feel like you're sewing and sewing and sewing like forever and you're making no progress, and then all of a sudden, because you're making 15 at once, you go, oh, one done, two done, it all finished all at once. So yeah, it's good and bad in that sort of way there. We've had more people coming in. It looks like everyone's just waking up and rolling out of bed or rolling over and turning their phone on, which doesn't matter to me. I just love that you all show up, whether you're watching in your chair, whether you're sewing along with us, or you're just watching from the comfort of your own bed and blankets, because it's getting cold outside. Like,
oh yeah,
I can't. Yeah, I know it's cold up there in Pennsylvania where you are. Like last night, I went to the store, and I've been in like t-shirt and shorts this whole year, and I actually had to put my jacket on that I had in my car, and I was like, I'm so sad about that. Anyway, so Andrea from Mama J Enterprises says, I have that pattern and plan to do it one of these days if my life slows down. I have too many projects ahead of it. Yes, including my Beagle project. She's designing a pattern based on my two dogs at some point. It's going to be, I know, it's something she offered. I had no idea she was going to do it. She asked for a photo. She's going to do it. We probably won't see it till sometime in 2025, but I'm just grateful that she wanted to do this for me. And I will patiently wait for it. Like, I don't want her to feel like she has to have it done next week. She said early 2025. If it's mid or late 2025, that's okay too. But it's good to see you. Good morning, Miss Teresa. It's good to see you. Good morning to Donnell Stitchery. Laura, I think we said good afternoon to Christina Stromberg. She is one of my European viewers from one of the Nordic countries, I think.
wow.
Sweden or Norway. I'm probably getting that wrong. And if I did, I apologize in advance. So on Quilt with April Sawtell is here with me. She was here with me last week as well. So if you haven't checked out her channel, go ahead and do so. She is a lot of fun as well. And Donnell, of course. And Donnell will be live at 10 a.m. Eastern as well. Anyway, so before I get too distracted, I do need to get some sewing done, right? Yeah, so what I was digging around last night saying, okay, what can I do? Because I didn't really feel like cutting out a lot of fabric because I was lazy. And I found, when I was digging through my unfinished projects, I found this lovely thing. And I had this on a live, who knows how long ago. And I've already quilted it. You can probably see. I could probably quilt around here a bit more, but, you know, I'm kind of ready for it to be done. And I know a lot of people have asked, you know, will have trouble with binding. So I figured, okay, well, I'm going to do a tutorial for binding at some point in my life, but today's not that day. Okay, so it is Sweden for Christina. She said we got some snow here. Have you got snow up your way yet?
Oh, you know, with yesterday it was like a snow mixed with rain, and my youngest daughter, she's 11, she got so excited, and she had just pulled out her coat a couple of days ago and found her gloves in there, and so she went outside, none of it was sticking to the ground, and she just got soggy and came back in. So that's all the snow we've gotten. How about
we
you?
haven't got any. No, not yet. We don't get a lot. We haven't had a lot of snow here in the recent years. It looked like it might have been some flurries last night, but that could have just been rain too. I don't know. So anyway, but I'm going to do binding today, and then I'm also going to attach a hanging sleeve to the back, so that way I can hang it up somewhere. I don't know if I'm going to hang it up here at the house, or if I'm going to take it to work, or gift it. I don't know. We'll do something with it. I'll probably keep it because it's like one of my first, you know, free motion projects.
Right.
But we'll see what happens there. Kathleen says she got some rain woohooza. Yeah, we haven't had a lot of rain here either. It's kind of been very, very dry over the last few months. So there we go. All right. So let's see. I know we talked about this offline again, but you're going to have to answer this a second time, Kristen.
Okay.
But what motivated you to start your channel?
Oh, my children had really encouraged me. I've always wanted to teach sewing and quilting, really kind of share my love of it. And so my most of my children are grown and in their 20s, and they were like, Mom, you really need to get on social media. So I watch a lot of YouTube's where I go when I want to learn something. So I just that I would start and start sharing what I know and sharing what I like to do, and seeing if anyone else likes to do those things too.
Yeah, that's really neat. Like, I know, like, I don't know if you have this, but like, I feel like, well, I'm self-taught. I'm a proud graduate of YouTube University. And I'm like, do I really have anything to, you know, teach anyone else?
Right.
And as I've gone through the time, like, apparently I do. Like, I still find it strange to this day. But yeah, it's fun that you did that. And I think one of the reasons I started too is that I saw these knitting podcasts that my wife watches. And these people are getting stuff done. Like, they come on every other week, and they come back and they've knit a pair of socks, and they've done a scarf, and they've done all this stuff. And I'm sitting here and I've got nothing done. So I was like, okay, well, maybe I can do some accountability.
Right.
And if I do a podcast, and maybe I'll get some stuff done. It's actually worked out quite nicely, because sometimes I get to a Saturday afternoon and I haven't done a whole lot of sewing. I'm like, well, I better get my tail in the gear, because otherwise I'm going to come on tomorrow morning and say, yeah, welcome to episode 100 and whatever it is. I have nothing for you. Thanks for showing up. See you all next week. That wouldn't be very good. So, you know, people tell me that I motivate them, but you guys really motivate me as well. And that's a good thing.
Yep. And I think it's really an opportunity to get to know, you know, sometimes as an adult, we get so busy with our lives, with work and our families. It's hard to make new friends, right? And it's fun to share an activity that we love with other people and get to meet other people. As you were saying, just in greeting everyone, you know, you've met these people from all over the world. That's so awesome, right? Like, that's just a really neat thing, I think.
Oh, it is for sure. And that was like one of the unexpected blessings from this. Like, I wasn't really expecting, like, obviously I was, you know, I figured I'd make, you know, get my little community of viewers and that sort of thing there, but I wasn't expecting to like gain all these wonderful friendships with all these wonderful people. You know, some I've met in person, Some I have not had a chance to do yet. Like to in the future, but yeah, that's just one of the things that's been so fun about this is that I've gotten to meet so many people in
Yeah.
one way or another. So okay, yeah. So all right, let me see. I'm distracted this morning, but that's every morning. If you're looking for perfection, you're not in the right place. Um, Another question we had for you is like, again, we talked about this beforehand, is what made of it, like you said, you've been sewing in that for 30 years, but you haven't quilted for as long. And you told me a really fun story about how you got interested in quilting and so forth. So do you want to share that with us?
Oh, I I have a lot of fun stories about how I really got started in quilting. So, but really it was that I was sewing for my children, and they kept outgrowing the clothes. So, um I wanted something really pretty to work on that no one would outgrow. And so that was when I really got into quilting. I found that pattern, and then I just kind of taught myself from there. My mom had sewn a lot, but she hadn't made quilts. She was big into making clothes. She made my wedding dress and one of my prom dresses. And my great aunt had sewn a lot, and she always shared that. But making quilts was new to my family. I hadn't done that a whole lot. So I I really just fell in love with the fabric and with making something beautiful and unique. And with quilting, you can really be as creative as you want, right? So
Oh, for
you
sure.
you can follow a pattern and make something, and it has a set rules and set way to do it, and it will come out beautiful. But you can also kind of go rogue and go on your own and make something, and it will still come out beautiful, so I really like just all those different aspects of it, the creativity of it.
Oh, definitely. And like, I love how you brought up like the pattern you can kind of go on your own. Like to me, a
Mhm.
pattern is like a recipe when you go cooking. Like if
Yes.
you want it to turn out a certain way, you follow the pattern, and step one through whatever it is. But yeah, if
Mhm.
you want to change things up, you are more than welcome to. The quilt police will not come bang on your
Right.
door and haul you off to the local county jail if you change something up on a pattern. Like I change stuff up all the time. I change colors. I change all sorts of stuff. And a lot of the times, the pattern designers actually enjoy seeing it in different
Mhm.
colors. I know with not the Alice in Wonderland, what's the other one called? The Wizard of Oz. I
Mhm.
changed up the Tin Men a lot, like the colors. Like there was some of the Kona sheen, which is kind of like a sparkly solid, and it was used for like the hat and something else in the Tin Man, and the rest of it was like all solid grays. And I looked at that and I'm like, I want more of this kind of that the sheen, and so I put more sheen in it. And when John saw it, he thought it was fantastic. So
Right.
yeah, don't ever be afraid of changing colors or anything else up in a pattern and thinking that you're going to offend the pattern writer. More than likely, they're going to go, "Oh, that's really cool," and it's fun to see it in different ways, because I'm sure they probably have a million different ideas in their head too, but they can only really write it,
Right.
one, in one colorway or something like that. Or sometimes you have testers, you can, show different results as well. But other than that, yes, but don't ever be afraid to do that. So,
I
all
also
right.
oh, I'm so sorry.
I know you're fine. I don't know what I was
Oh,
going to say now, so go for it.
oh, I'm so sorry. I also love to give my quilts away, right? I have 5 children and I love babies. And so I love making baby quilts and giving them like to my coworkers and everything. And I have made so many friends doing that, just giving my quilts away when I hear someone's having a new baby. And even sometimes, when I think a lot of quilters have this too. You look at your quilt and you're like, oh, I see all these mistakes, right? All the ways that I mess up. But you give that to someone else and they don't see that at all. They just see
Yeah.
this lovely, colorful, beautiful item that you gave them.
Yeah, and that's a very, very important point. Like, yeah, we're our own worst critics. We see all the mistakes, but yeah, you kind of really do need to get over that. Like, and that's something I struggled with for many years, and I think I'm finally getting to a point where I'm okay with it. That's except when you bind way too close to the edge, then you got to pull out your very, very best friend and fix. Well, it's not going to be good afterwards. So, but yeah, if you have mistakes, just let it go. Like, I've said this many times before. I'm sure you're all sick of me saying it, but yeah, even those best in shows at a quilt show, it's going to have an error there somewhere. Speaking of which, I did get my quilt report card from the quilt show this year, this week, so I get to share the results in that tomorrow. It's fairly basic. There's not a lot. We won't be spending 20 minutes talking about it. There'll be like a 14-second segment probably because they didn't tell me a whole lot. But you know what? They gave me a pretty green ribbon behind me, so I figured they liked it. You know.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah. And that quilt has, like those rows do not line up. Like the center part of it, it's off by like 1/8 of an inch or 1/4 of an inch. And I almost didn't enter it, but I was like, I don't have time to fix this. And we're just going to throw it in and, see what happens and hope for the best. And yeah, like, do you want it to be, if you enter it in the show, you want it to be perfect? Yeah, you want it to be as close to perfect as you can, because that may be the difference between you getting a pretty ribbon and you're not. But if it's not perfect, just throw it in and see what happens. You never know. Especially if the entry fee is cheap. Now, some of these bigger shows, the entry fee is $40, $50, more than $1. Yeah, you might not want to just jump on and throw stuff in just willy-nilly. But like your county fair, even your state fair, like our state fair is $5 a entry. It's not that expensive. So yeah, give it a go if you are so inclined. Andrew says, thank you for the closed caption. Yeah, I did remember to turn that on this morning. So I am happy about that. I use closed captions a lot myself when I listen to YouTube videos because I don't know. I just think it's good to, because sometimes you miss stuff, like even watching movies and TV shows. And B, if you're watching like out and about somewhere, you can't necessarily listen to it because there's a lot of noise around. Like if you're in a restaurant or a hair salon or something like that, if they have the closed captions turned on, you can kind of watch, not necessarily and follow along as well. So if you have a channel and you're doing a live and you can turn the captions on, I highly recommend you do so. That's my soapbox for this morning. That's my tip for anyone that has a live. Just always turn your closed captions on because your viewers do appreciate it. I know I do. Good morning, Miss Nancy. It's good to see you. Good morning to Rebecca from That Crafty Life of Rebecca. It's good to see you. And Joyty is here with us this morning as well. It's good to see you. So I am binding this little tulip. This is a free pattern from, I believe it's from Missouri Star Quilt Company. I never get their name right. We did this part of a giveaway, not a giveaway, a block swap. I'll get it right in a minute. A year or two ago, and I quilted this on a live way too long ago, and I found this in my unfinished pile, and I figured, it would be fun to show how binding is. Oh, hang on a second. I almost didn't put this on. That'd be bad. I'm going to put a hanging sleeve on it. So I made a little hanging sleeve, which is basically it's a 8-inch piece of fabric, the width, and then I just kind of sewed down the edges, and then I'll attach it to. That's not good. Now it's too wide.
Oh no.
That's all right. We can fix that.
I really like that pink you're using for the binding too. That's such a vibrant color.
Yeah, it's just one that I had in my collection. I don't know. I think it's like a bubblegum pink, or it's a Kona solid. I know that much. I don't have the labels on there, unfortunately, so I can't tell you which color it is. I could probably match it against the little board I have, but all right. So I need to knock this down an inch. I don't like doing all these adjustments on a live, but you know what? My hand's kind of forced. We'll make it work. It won't be the end of the world. All right. Where did my magic ruler go? All right. So Joy had a great comment here. She says that Saturday is the day we follow each other around throughout the channels. It reminds me of Halloween going from house to house. That's a wonderful. That is a fun. I love house. I love that. Like it's a great way of thinking about it. Like I feel like I kick off the weekend sometimes, and sometimes my friend Liana or who else does it? Sometimes there's someone else that hopped on at 7 in the morning for the super early risers. But I feel like we kind of kick off her and I kick off the weekend, and then everybody else just continues on continues along, which is really fun.
Yeah.
So
that
and
is
hopefully we give you treats here. Like someone's saying trick or treat. Hopefully it's a treat here. So
Yep.
just a little distracted. That's okay, because I try to prepare for these things, but the one thing I did not do was measure this to make sure it was the right width.
Well, you just figure it out as you go. So.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. And that just proves that I am not perfect. If you think I am perfect, I'm sorry to tell you, it's not even close. Okay, where's the candy? It's funny, like my two kids still have a bunch of candy from Halloween. So
do you really like Halloween? Did you dress up for Halloween?
I did dress up as Halloween this year. I was actually a hippie. My wife found some. I'll have to grab a photo of it and show you later on. She found some cute costumes. We were both hippies for Christmas. So, and then Eva, our exchange student from Germany, she found a Slytherin like robe thing from Harry Potter. She dressed up as that. And then Ali, our Danish exchange student, she actually crocheted herself like a spider web poncho type thing. Oh, it looks absolutely stunning. Yeah, she's a big crocheter, very talented in that respect. And so, yeah, she kind of made her own Halloween costume, which I thought was really neat. So
that is very neat. Did you get a lot of trick-or-treaters like in your neighborhood?
we didn't stay here. We went to a friend's house. They invited us out to go trick or treating with them, and they actually talked to the people in the neighborhood because our exchange students are 16, which is older than what they're supposed to be. And then like all the people in the neighborhood said, no, don't worry about it. Let them come, let them trick or treat. And it was really neat because like I went around with them as well, and a lot of the houses were like, "Hey, come grab some candy for me." Like I was like, "I'm too old." They're like, "No, you're not. Come over here." If you go to the right neighborhood, age is not a limit. So.
Right? There's no age limit on candy either. That's
no
good.
Like when we stay here at the house, like if an older kid shows up and wants candy, I'm going to give it to him. I don't care. Let him have some fun.
Right.
I understand like the rules are there for a reason, and that sort of thing there. But I'm not going to sit there and card you. Like I am not the liquor store and have to card you. So
yeah, we here in Hanover, they have this big Halloween party that's the Thursday before Halloween. We did not get to it this year because it conflicted with my work schedule. But then they organized trick-or-treating in the whole town as the Tuesday before that party. So we actually did it before Halloween. So
that's fun.
I made a witch's hat. I actually made a quilted witch's hat, and it was really fun. And I wore that, and then I had a purple dress, so I was a friendly witch. And then my daughter, my 11-year-old that I took trick or treating, she wore her Colonial Williamsburg dress.
That's fun.
And she has the hat. She has the whole thing. So that was really fun. Everyone loved her costume. She wasn't expecting all the positive comments she got on it. So that was really fun.
Yeah, it's always fun when people give you compliments, and that's kind of what Ali was. Like a lot of people commented on her spider web thing that she made it herself. So
right. That sounds amazing.
Yeah. If you go back and look at the episode where, hang on, I can show you in a second. Well, I'm not going to show you. You can go. I'll put the link in a second. Hang on. You can go ahead and take a look at it during our week in review that week. Let's see. Hang on a second. That's October 27th. It's not that one. It's this one. Okay. We'll throw a link in here real quick. Okay. Control V. So yeah, if you want to go see that, you can go check out that episode, and it's in the week in review. You'll see footage of Ali and Eva and that running around trick-or-treating, and you'll see her crocheted top. And as I said, yeah, it looks like a spider web. She did a really, really good job of it. And I'm super proud of her for that. So, all right. So let's, oh, there we go. Andy says here, if there was a neighborhood of quilters, we could trick or treat for fabric. Set
Right?
out a bucket of charm squares and collect pieces for a scrappy quilt. I'm liking this idea. You know, this,
Same.
that'd be really, really neat.
That would. We could like trick or treat blocks. Like everyone could make like little blocks, and then at the end you put it together and you have a wall hanging. This is 2024 Halloween, or fabric, or both.
All right. So for anyone that is a part of a physical quilt guild, this might be a fun activity for you all to do at a quilt guild meeting. You know, like, you know, we're sitting here, you know, talking about it and joking about it and that sort of thing there. But I'm sitting here thinking, okay, if you're part, like I host an online guild, so it'll be a little more difficult for us. But yeah, if you're a part of a physical guild, you know, your guild's looking for an event to do, that would be a really, really fun event. So yeah, anyone out there, there is an idea for you. You can tell your guild leader, thank Kristin for the idea, because it was her idea, not mine. Or actually, whose idea was it? Andy's. You can thank Andy. I'm not taking credit for it because I just took it and ran with it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, that sounds like a fun idea. Or if you have a bunch of quilting friends, yeah, get together and have a little party and do a quilters trick or treat. I think that'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Do you
Okay.
do
Go ahead.
you like to make any quilts for the holidays?
Not,
Like
I usually don't, just
No?
because, and I've talked about this in previous lives, I don't like deadlines.
Okay, fair.
And I'm not gonna, and I'm a procrastinator. So like, yeah, you can tell me I can make a Christmas quilt for next year, and I'll leave it until like December 14th and then panic. So I like the idea of doing it. The closest thing I have to doing holiday quilts is these little gnomes, and these are themed for each month. Like this is the,
those are so cute.
yeah, and I've bought a bunch of these. I've got one for there's like an apple one, which is like for fall. There's a pilgrim one for like Thanksgiving. I almost quilted that today, but I didn't feel like dragging out the big table to quilt on and everything else. There's one for Valentine's Day that I have. There's one for July 4th. So for holidays, I like working on smaller projects because there's so many, you know, shiny things out there I want to make. I have to keep them small, otherwise they'll be, you know, 2029 before I finish any of them. So yeah, this is like the half completed Valentine's Day edition. So yeah, these I love making. I think they're a lot of fun, and it's not too much. And that's kind of like a you know, actually I can put this on the door.
Yeah.
When I'm done. Yeah, that's what I'm kind of want to do with those gnomes. So yeah, maybe that's what I'll do with this. All right, what was I doing?
You could use a couple of command hooks on the door and have a dowel go through, right? Go through your hanging sleeve, and then hang it, and then when you're done, then you can just pull off the command hooks.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I can't remember what I was doing. Was I going to look at some comments? Okay. Oh yeah, a lot of people saying here that they really enjoy having the closed captions on. I mean, I know I do as a viewer as well. So
yep,
that is cool. Okay, let's see. Coffee is kicking in. Yes, what Kathleen says, that the coffee's kicking in for me. Yeah, I think it is finally kicking in. Okay, Andy says, I've been in fabric and block swaps. I could probably organize something for Sean's guild. I will take you up on that offer more than likely, Andy, because yeah, I need all the help I can get. I tend to get into too many things at once and then get behind. So yeah, you and I will talk about that probably at the next meeting. We have some ideas for next year, and block swap is, and I think Janice, who's also here in the chat, was going to help me with that. So yeah, we'll definitely talk about that and work something out. Okay, let's see. Okay, I don't think I missed a. Everyone's just talking to each other as well. So,
Oh.
yeah, Donnell says we give candy to anyone that shows up at the door on Halloween, dressed up or not, no matter the age. Yeah, that's just how I feel about it, like
Yeah.
I'm fine with that. It's not let the kids. I mean, that, and it's probably hard. And probably people won't believe me when I say this, but this like we went out trick or treating with the girls. That was my first trick or treating. I've never done it before because
Oh.
we never had it in Australia when I was growing up. Like we heard of it. It was an American holiday. We did not go trick or treating. So yeah, that was my first time out going trick or treating. And so, you just, maybe it's going to be the case for someone else. Maybe they didn't do it as a kid for whatever reason. Like some families don't believe in it or they don't participate. And so maybe as an adult that they decide they do. So yeah, let them have the, you do it. Do you, of course. But my thing is, let them have fun.
It's hard to be a teenager. And if a teenager's out there trick-or-treating, then they're still trying to be a good kid, They're not it's only candy. It's not like it's that big of a deal.
Oh, that's an interesting thing. Okay.
Oh, what's
Sorry.
that?
Laurie says here, check out hanging triangles instead of hanging sleeves. I've
Oh.
always used sleeves because that's what I have to do for the show. I learned that from power tools was thread much quicker. Okay, I'm definitely going to check it out. I noticed those other ones. There's like special like hanging things that you can buy that are just 2 clips. For small things like that, and then you don't have to do anything. But I just figured I'd put a hanging sleeve on this thing just for fun. And yeah.
I'll have to check that out. I've never heard.
Yeah, I'm very interested in that one as well.
Yeah.
I'm all if someone can say, okay, here's a quicker way of doing something, I am all about taking a look because I do not have all the answers.
Right.
And we can all learn from each other. So if you ever find something that works out better, that would be good. Okay, so Deb S, the Pug Mum Quilter, is doing a very first live this afternoon. Everybody show up and support her. That is awesome. And someone's just put the link in there for me. Do we know what time? Can someone tell me what time that will be today? Because I'm going to be out and about this afternoon, so I don't know that I'm going to be able to join the live. But if I can, I will definitely jump in and take a look. And if not, I will come watch the replay and support her in that way. It's going to be fun to see her do that. So,
right. Yeah.
All right. Andy says she buys the pre-made hanging sleeves and hand stitch those onto the rare occasion that I enter a show or need to hand stitch something. Up until this year, I have cheated and always machine stitched my hanging sleeve on there. It's not easy, but it can be done. But this year I decided I was going to be a good boy and hand stitch it on because I had to hand stitch the mitre corners anyway.
Lori Holt does something where she puts she also does triangles, I guess. I always thought of them as corners. So she on her backing she does like a triangle corner, so then she can have a flat like almost 2x4 and they hook those corners hook on that and she hangs up the 2x4. I haven't tried to do that. I saw her tutorial a couple of times, but I haven't tried it myself.
Yeah, I'm very, very interested in taking a look at those methods because as like for a show, I have to use the sleeves. They require it.
Right.
But for other stuff, if there's a easier way of doing it, I am all about it. So yeah, I'll be doing some research on that and seeing how it goes from there. But yeah, this thing's almost stitched on there now, so I'm not ripping it out.
Right. Really, however it works for you too, right? So one of the great things about having a community is we can take all those ideas and maybe come up with something even better that works for our situation.
Oh, for sure. All right, did I do this wrong? Please tell me I didn't. I've twisted it. Whoops. That's no fun. I should have stayed in bed.
Aw.
That's all right. Jack's just getting a workout this morning. Yeah, I got it on here right, but apparently I twisted it during it, so
Oh, yeah.
that's all, it's okay. It's only a 2.5-inch strip that I have to seam rip, so that's okay. We haven't seen Jack here in a while on the live, so I guess he just decided he wanted to come out and play today. So, okay, let's see. Susan says for quilting the city show and the regional fair here, sleeves are required because of how the hanging system. Yeah, for the big ones. Yeah, for most shows they do require it. I've seen some like you have to read the instructions like on the website to find out what they require. I think like I've seen some county fairs and even some state fairs don't require it, but the vast majority of them do. So always read the instructions before you enter it. And then if you need a tutorial on how to do it, I plan on doing one at some point, but there are a lot of wonderful tutorials out there already. I forget which one I watched. I've done it so many times now, I kind of have it memorized. But yeah, if you search, just watch a few, one will speak to you. And then, yeah, I plan to do one fairly soon because I want to do a binding tutorial video, which I'll probably do on one of these, or the gnomes, and then I'll do the hanging sleeve as well, fairly close. So keep an eye out for that. I can't promise it's going to be anytime soon, but it will be coming at some point. So there we go. All right. Oh, apparently Andy says that her local shop carries those little triangle things or something.
Oh.
Yeah, that's a good way to. That's a fun product to sell.
Right? I don't think I've seen that.
Me either.
Well, sure.
Every shop does something a little different.
Right?
Wasn't it this time?
I just cut mine wrong. It's hard to talk and sew sometimes because it's easy.
It is. I've been doing this for a long time, and I still get confused. So yeah, you're doing great. You know, like if you can get anything done on your first live, especially if you do it without mistakes, that's even better.
I don't know if it will be without mistakes, but
Okay.
I'm doing something over here.
If you can do it without having to pull out Jack, you're doing better than me.
Oh, I'm cutting fabric, but I haven't cut my finger yet, so I called that a win.
Well, there you go. Yeah, cutting a finger is no fun.
Oh, no, it's not.
And now the threads come out of the needle. Oh, we are having a joyous day. I'm not worried about it. We are hanging out with friends. We are having a good time.
Right.
And I remember somebody once, and I think it was Ginger from the Copycat Quilter told us once about Jack. She said, think about the amount of time that you don't need that compared to what you do. And I've thought about it that way ever since. And I don't get nearly as frustrated with myself when I make a mistake. So think about it that way. Yeah, do a comparison. How much do you need it versus what you don't? And I think there's a good chance you won't beat yourself up quite as much.
Having a more positive outlook.
Yep.
That's the key to a lot of things.
Oh, for sure. And then if I make the same mistake twice on something, I put it away and either work on something else or take a nap.
Yeah, put it in timeout for a little bit.
Yeah, and that's sometimes what you need to do. That's another reason I don't like deadlines, because usually it's when I start messing things up.
Yeah.
So.
I do like Christmas quilts, but I don't like to make them in the summer, right? I know that's how you should, so that you get them done in time, but I like working on them at Christmas time. I like working with Christmas fabric at Christmas time, or whatever holiday it is, New Year's, Halloween, all of them.
You can always join in on the Christmas in July we're planning on doing next year.
Yeah. I'll have to check it out. Sometimes it's hard for me though. When it's hot outside, I'm not thinking about Christmas.
See, for me, that is Christmas.
Oh, yes. Yeah. I can totally see that.
Yeah. I've been here 20 some years and I'm still getting used to this whole idea that Christmas is cold.
Right? I could see that. That would be like me saying, "Oh, July is cold." But I guess July is cold in Australia, huh?
It is, and it was funny. Like the first time I took my wife to Australia, went down there in, I think it was like mid to late June. I forget the exact date. Not that it's really important to the story, but we're down there in downtown Sydney, and we're walking across this little like pretty harbour area called Darling Harbour, and she stops and takes a picture of this sign, and I'm like, okay, what is she up to? And it's a bunch of different concerts or something. And I was like, why are you taking a picture of this? And she's like, it says Winter Concert Series. I was like, okay, and she's like, it's July. I'm like, and then it finally clicked. I was like, oh yeah, to you this is not normal. So I've actually got a picture of that sign somewhere, and I always chuckle out when I see that because like you don't think about that sort of thing, like
Right.
I grew up with it being, I feel like winter is, well, I've been here so long now, it's almost like I have two winters. Yeah. But it is still weird, like when I look on Facebook, sometimes I see my friends from Australia and in July, and they've got pictures of them in like little beanies and all that sort of stuff here, and I'm like, you realize it's like 100 degrees outside, right? So it is weird. Okay, let's see. All right, so with Deb Esther Pug Mum Quilter, she is going to have Mona and Lisa join her this afternoon on her first live to help her out. I love having a guest on a live. I think it's wise to do it that way because I think it's really hard, and a lot of people excel at this, and I don't. Talking on a live by yourself, especially you, without someone there to talk to. I love having a guest and having someone to bounce off as well. So I think that's a wise move. Be there too, you'll do great. So it's 4 p.m. Eastern for Deb S. If you are available, I'd love it if you could support it. I said if I can make it, I will. I might catch the tail end. It just depends on how long we're out and about today. Because usually, like with me, I come on, I hang out with all of you guys, and then we usually go out and do something with the girls. Mm. And I have to go get my hair cut up with because it's becoming a hot mess. So this is a question that my friend Donnell and I were talking about earlier this week. I think it was Donnell. Was it someone else? And she was asking, or whoever it was asking, do you sew your binding to the front first or the back?
Oh, I sew mine, usually I sew mine to the front first.
Okay, me too.
That's how I always did it. But sometimes it can be, you can sew it on more neatly if you sew it to the back first.
Okay.
Or
yeah, I'd love to.
How about you?
Yeah, and let's put this in as a we'll do it as a poll. You know me, I love a poll.
I'll be interested in seeing how else does theirs.
Yeah. First when binding. I get too distracted here. And I love you all for hanging out with me and me being a hot mess. Do you sew the front or back of the quilt first when binding? Okay, that just makes sense, right?
Yes.
Okay, thank goodness. Okay, let's see. Start poll. So yeah, I think I just learned how to do it from the front first, or I like the effect of the front. Because like I do the front first, and then I flip them over, and then sew from the front to the back, and hope for goodness I catch the back, which I usually do in most situations. And I like the effect of when it's done. So that's why I do it this way. But if you do it back to the front or whatever, you do what works best for you. But this method's worked well for me. It's worked well for my show quilts. The judges never complain about my binding, except for I have to stitch the mitered corners at the back, which I think is silly, but if that's what they want, that's what they're going to get. There we go. All right. Brenda says, I subscribe, Chris. Took a quick glance at the sewing room, your Dookie. I have a J150, a TL98Q, and a HZLF600. Yeah, Chris has a wonderful video showing her sewing room. So if you haven't checked that out, while you're over checking out her channel, make sure you check out that video because that one's a really fun one.
Yeah, I'm really proud of my sewing room because I started out when my older kids were small. All my sewing stuff could fit in one medium-sized moving box, including my sewing machine. So all my fabric, all my tools, everything except my ironing board fit in this one medium box. So now we were so lucky in the house we have now. We have a living room and a family room. So my sewing space is down in the family room, but it ends up becoming the living room because as kids come over, I have a small couch in here, and they end up sitting in here and hanging out with me. So yeah.
That's really fun. Yeah, we have an open floor plan here, so like I sit here in what used to be the dining room, and it's now my sewing room. Well, I like to call it my sewing studio, and it's also my home office because I work from home occasionally. So it's like a multi-purpose area. But yeah, if you want to eat at a formal dining room, you have to go to someone else's house. It's never going to happen here again. Sorry for you.
Yeah.
Not really.
I've sewn in dining rooms. I've had the corner of a bedroom. I also work from home, so I have a section of this room that I hung a curtain from the ceiling so I can close it off. But my work desk is there and it's separate. But yeah.
Yeah, this is where I actually work from home. Like all I have to do is move the sewing machine right here behind me and then pull the keyboard down and then I am ready to go.
Oh, wow.
I've got it worked out pretty well so I can kind of flip back and forth as I see fit. So, all right. So they're all talking about Dev S. Yeah, Dev S is slide this afternoon. Mama Andrea says she has enough subs now to do a live, but I'd have to have people with me to read the chat and captions while, so I'll try it one of these days. Yeah, if you ever have questions about that sort of stuff, reach out. You know, we are always more than happy to answer any questions. You know, I get emails and messages from people from time to time with questions, and I'm happy to answer as many of them as I can. So there we go. Okay. All right, Kaz Kiwi NZ, which I'm assuming stands for New Zealand. I keep meaning to ask her that. Says I can't answer the poll. I've only finished one quilt top so far, and a few other practice sample blocks. I'm still a beginner. Hey, we are always all still learning. Like I don't care how long you've been doing this. You always learn something new. So I'm super proud of you for doing that, and giving it a go. And you seem to be really enjoying it from the comments that I've read from you recently, which is fun. Okay, Andrea says, I put the binding on the front by machine and hand sew the stitching on the back most of the time. If I'm totally machine binding, then I do the back first. Yeah, I think it's interesting that, and it looks like the split is 56 to the front and 44 to the back. So, yeah, it looks like it's very, very even.
Right.
And I can't really, I think I started off doing the back, but then I liked how the front looked better. I tried it, because I'm one of those people that's like, I wonder what would happen if. I'm very big about that. And so I just kind of like it that way. But yeah, you do what works best for you. I'm not going to say, well, you're doing it wrong because, no. Hey, look, the binding at the end of the day is the final step. That means you're getting to the finish line. So whether you run, crawl, skip, do cartwheels, that's fine with me. Okay, so Kaz is in New Zealand. That's what I figured. What part of New Zealand? I love New Zealand. I've only been there once as a teenager. Went to the whole South, pretty much most of the South Island, and absolutely loved it. And it's one of those things I'd love to go back and see again in person one day. But by the time I get down to Australia and visit all of my family and friends, it's already been a month, and I have to go back to work, unfortunately. So. All right, April's asking Deb what time she's going live. I believe at 4 p.m. Eastern, I think is what I saw. If I'm wrong, please correct me, but I'm almost certain it's at 4 p.m. Eastern. Okay, apparently Donnell stitches both of hers at the same time. She's going to have to show me how that's done. I think for my show quilts especially, I'm going to stick to the method that I currently do because the judges seem to like it, even though it's machine stitched. They don't seem to complain about that. So if they're happy with it, I'm not changing it. But for other projects, if Donnell's methods works better for me, then I am all about it. Now, Andrea says she's taken over the entire house. Has 4 bedrooms. The husband has one of the bedrooms for his office. We have one to sleep in, the other 2, and the living and dining room. Hey,
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with that. You know, if you and your family are okay with the situation, you know, how it is, I say go for it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get my stash down a little bit, though. You know, like that is one thing. And I'm actually succeeding in that, I feel like, which is nice. Okay, Suze, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I totally see the benefits of reducing the stash. Whenever my husband's retired military, so whenever we moved, I would reduce it. But I also kind of like shopping in my sewing room, you know, like not having do I have enough? You know, like I like having that ready supply too. I can see the benefits of both sides.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I shop for my stash here a lot too. I don't think I've had to go out and buy like non-background or non-backing fabric in quite a while. I'm going to soon for the Dragon, the FP, the Dragon. I'm going to buy fabric for that very soon because I just don't have enough different reds for that.
Yeah.
But other than that, and I've kind of decided this week too with that I was going to go to the fabric store and shop in person, but I think I'm going to buy that online because it's going to save me hours because they're not going to have the right red, and they're going to have to sit down and try and figure out which one it is and all that sort of stuff. Like, no, I'm going to be lazy on that there too. So, okay, Donnell says she's going to do a video on the sewing to both sides very soon. So keep an eye out on that over on Donnell's channel. That'll be a lot of fun there as well.
Right.
Okay, Kaz says Auckland originally wrote a. I'm going to butcher the name of that. I've never got that one name of that city right in my life, so I'm not even going to try because then all New Zealand's going to want to murder me. I've only been to the South Island once for a 4-day Rover Scout moot in my early 20s, and strangely, I don't remember a thing. Oh, that's interesting. Then there's a beer jug next door, so I guess you must have had a few drinks at some of the pubs there. I was only 15, so I couldn't go to the pub, unfortunately, when I was there. But it's a beautiful part of the world. If you ever get a chance to go down there, go take a look. All right, so Brenda says, same here. I say it's a sweatshop, LOL. Yeah, that's my sister's name for my sewing room sometimes because when she comes over here, I put her to work. We love sewing together. We don't get an opportunity to do it very often, but yeah, we call it our little sweatshop, so that's funny. All right, so there we go. All right. I'm getting very close to finishing this binding. It came together super, super quickly.
And do you hand sew on the back or do you
No, I machine stitch it all. No, I've never hand stitched a binding before. On the back here on the corners, like if it's a show quilt, I will stitch back here in the corner here because I want that stitched down. But other than that, no, I machine stitch it. And even at the shows that I've, that State Fair, when I put it in the show, they don't seem to care.
That's what I do on mine as well. I used to hand sew the back, but it wouldn't. I have 5 children, and they just wouldn't. It wouldn't hold up. So even with my best hand stitching, so I always do the machine stitching just so it will last.
Yeah, A, I'm lazy. B, I was never a big fan of hand stitching, and C, I can, if I machine stitch it, it takes a 10th at a time, and then I can move on to something else. By the time you get to binding, usually I just want it to be done so I can see the finished product.
Right. And then this might be too controversial, but I'll ask it. Do you machine wash your quilts when you finish them?
Not immediately. I'll wash them when they need to be washed, but no, I usually don't. I usually don't. I know a lot of people do, and they like it so it's like crinkly and that sort of thing there. But I like the effect of when I gift it to somebody that it's like pretty and all that sort of stuff there. But yeah, everybody is different, and I see the beautiful both ways. But yeah, usually I don't think I ever have washed a quilt, but will I in the future? Maybe. I don't know. I mean, I'm really good. I'm really good either way, but it's not something I do.
Okay.
What about yourself?
So I do wash them like right after I make them, especially if I had markings for how I was going to quilt them, and I use a water pen and that gets it all out. I have found though, if I give it after it's quilted and the binding's on, if I give it a really good press and then I wash it, it doesn't get as crinkly. It tends to stay more flat.
Oh,
But
okay.
yeah, I because I give a lot of my quilts as baby quilts and as gifts, I use a lot of starch or marking pens. I just machine wash and dry it after
Oh, okay.
after I make it. But again, like you said, that's personal preference. Some people don't wash them, and I understand. I haven't. I've entered quilts in some fairs, not as many as you have, but in some of them, and I understand that when you enter it into a competition, you probably don't want to wash it because you want it to be super flat and pristine.
Right. And you mentioned too that you starch and use marking pens a lot, and that might be a reason that I don't. I very rarely use starch, and I very rarely use marking pens. So I guess that's probably one reason too that if I did, then yes, I probably would be more inclined to wash prior to sending out. Or if the person had certain allergies, like if they were allergic to dog hair, if they're allergic to dog hair, then yes, absolutely, I would wash it. But yeah, as a rule, for me, yeah, I usually don't worry about it. But there we go. Rotorua is said pretty much how it's spelled, not fancy, basically phonetically. Rotorua. Okay, there we go. I always figured I'd butcher that name, but I was like, I should have been pretty close. So that's really fun. So there we go. And it's wow, it's late where she is because New Zealand is 18 hours ahead of us, I think. So
Oh
it's
wow!
well in the middle of the night where she is. So I'm really grateful that you're here with us, hanging out with us in the live.
Right.
And with that, I think we are done binding. Unless I made a mistake somewhere, which I didn't quite catch there, but that's okay. Oh, we got most of the corners. So there we go. We have now got this. The only thing I have left to do is I got to sew down this corner because I didn't quite catch it there, but that happens. And then hand stitch the hanging sleeve so it actually attaches. And then that's that. So there we go.
It looks beautiful.
Really, I love this, and I've got another. I actually just saw I've got another one sitting over here that I need to quilt. So yeah, you might see more of these floating around because I have like 8 or 10 of these, and I didn't put them into a quilt. I figured these would be nice as like wall hangings. They may end up being gifts to somebody, you know. So I don't know, but that's nice. It's really cool that that's basically done. So we still have like another 20 minutes before we all want to go ahead and say goodbye. So I think I'm going to continue working on my February gnome that I showed you a little earlier.
It's so cute.
They are a lot of fun. They still sell them over at Cotton Cuts, and they are 15 US dollars each, with free shipping within the US, I believe. I just put a link in the chat if anyone is interested. And now I've got to turn my. It all comes pre-cut, so you just unpack it.
Oh, well, that's handy.
Oh, it is. Yeah, that's what they had a sale on them last year. It was like buy 3 get 1 free or something like that. So I bought like 4 for like $45, and they're a great little project for me when I want to sew, but I don't want to have to sit there and cut all the fabric out first, or I don't want to have to think about it really hard because the pattern is super easy. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to be showing this, but you can't really see a whole lot. It's not. But yeah, you just kind of unpack it. You get like this little card tells you a little bit about it. They got like a recipe on the back for mini cheesecakes. Oh, that sounds good. I can
Right.
make some cheesecakes later. And then the pattern, and then all the fabric comes pre-cut like this.
Wow.
Yeah. And then there's always extras. So if you mess one up, don't panic. Or if you do something wrong on it, like I did, you still have leftovers. You don't have to sit there and rip everything out, which is nice. So
super handy.
Yeah. And then I also thought it'd be fun as door, like I mentioned earlier, they'd be good as door hangers or wall hangings for the different holidays. And the other reason I got them is I thought it'd be really fun to practice free motion quilting on.
Oh,
You know, because like when you're beginning, you want to learn, but you don't want to learn on a gigantic quilt and mess stuff up. Like if you learn on something like this, like if I bring it close enough, you can probably see the quilting here and on the nose.
Yep.
And I haven't done anything above that, but yeah, it's a great way to practice your free motion quilting. And if you want another thing to practice your free motion quilting on, we can go back to last week, which I didn't do. You can also like you can also do it for bowl cozies. I've done that before where I made it and I think Finley chewed it up. I guess she didn't like my quilting. But you can cut out your square, practice your free motion quilting, and then turn it into a bowl cozy. So, you know, it's a great couple of different little options there for you if you want to practice free motion on something small before you dive right into something huge.
Yeah. And it really, when you're doing those small projects, so because you quilt on your domestic, right? You don't.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't have a long arm.
Yeah, I don't either. And so I feel like doing those small projects really just builds that muscle memory in learning how your machine moves and how to move the quilt. And so after you've done a bunch of those, then you become more confident to do bigger quilts.
Oh, absolutely. And I've noticed too, like, and if you go back and watch a couple of lives where I've done the quilting, even from like start of a show to the end of a show, like the start of a project to the middle, you notice that you're more confident and that sort of thing now.
Yep, absolutely.
So Kaz says here you can practice on paper and an unthreaded needle as well. That's actually how I started, because when I opened up my sewing machine, I didn't have any fabric. But I did find a spool of old thread somewhere at my in-laws' house and a piece of paper. And that's actually how I started learning how to thread the machine, how to sew and everything else that night. I went to Joann's the next day and bought fabric. But, you know, Christmas Day, if you don't have any fabric and someone buys you a new machine,
right?
The paper and the thread works out beautifully. It's a great way to start as well. So that is always a good option as well. So
that's a great idea.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, and this says she doesn't wash after she quilts. However, I hang on the clothesline outside when it needs washing, never to dry. Yeah, I don't wash. I don't dry my quilts either. I will put them in the washing machine as needed. Yeah, sometimes I wash them once in a while, and I usually include washing instructions and care instructions. And the first thing I put on there is use it.
Right.
Don't put it in a corner somewhere. Don't say it's too pretty. Just use it. Like you put a hole in it or you wear it out. Tell me, I'll fix it. I'll make you another one. You know. But that's always my greatest joy, is like when someone's actually using it.
Yes. When it's well loved.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean, I don't mind patching a hole or something like that. And yeah, when people use it, like Ali told me she loves the quilt that I made for her. She's kind of obsessed with it, is what she told me once. And that made my day. And she snuggles under like one of the quilts, like the temperature quilt that my sister made the front for. She sits under it every night. And it brings me such joy to see it being used. So, and I'm sure a lot of you are the same way.
Absolutely.
Okay.
We make them. Or at least that's why I make them.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah, no, I'm not making a museum. My cubicle works looks like a little museum now. It's got like 3 little doll quilts hanging in it. All of their ribbons attached. Which is fun. Okay. Crafty Life Rebecca says, I like that they include extras. Yeah, I think that's a fun touch that they include extras in there. I wasn't expecting that, but yeah, one of these days when I finish all these, I might grab all the extras and kind of make something out of it. You know, it'll be all different colors. But
I use the leftovers to make something like something scrappy.
yeah, I think so. That's kind of the idea I have in my head. We'll have to see how that works out. Let's see if we can get this on real quick. Did I do this right? Probably not.
Oh.
Okay. You'll get to hear that story tomorrow. Because I actually found there's another mistake on this thing, but I'm not going to fix it. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8.
It becomes a feature, not a mistake.
Well, I'm basically calling it my own unique take on this.
Right?
And yeah, come back tomorrow, and I've got a fun story to tell about this. Yeah, we'll just leave it at that. We won't get too far because then I'll spoil the story. Okay, let's see. Susan says, that's how I taught my daughters how to use my sewing machine, drew straight lines, wavy lines, and circles on copy paper for them to try and sew on the lines. Oh, that's fun.
Right? That's an excellent idea.
Yeah. You might dull your needle after a while, kind of like you do a foundation. But basically, that's what you do when you do FPP, is you just have a piece of fabric next to it. So, yeah, I mean...
And needles are replaceable, and they're not super expensive.
No, they're not. And we should be changing them out more often anyway than most of us do, myself included. I am guilty of that, probably more so than most people. So,
me as well. You're supposed to change them after every project, but sometimes my projects overlap. So how am I? Then I don't remember to change it.
I think it was so Becca said once that what she does is, and I thought this was a really good idea, but I still don't do it. She pre-winds like 6 bobbins or something. And then when those 6 bobbins are gone, that's when she changes the needle. Because I'm like you, I'll start this project today. I'll get halfway through it. Something shiny will come along and I'll start something else. So yeah, if you wait for me to finish a project, I'll have the same needle until 2027. So yeah, I think the whole idea of doing the spools or setting a reminder on your, like if you maybe set an alarm on your phone, like the 22nd of each, the first of each month or something, change your needle, like.
Or maybe so every day you change a certain day of the week. I think the bobbin idea is a good one, but I know that sometimes I'll make bobbins for like a side project, or I sew on like patches on the Girl Scout uniform, or I'm making something for my daughter, so I have to have a one-off. So I think I would personally get confused on the bobbins, but I think that's a really good idea. I really like that idea.
Yeah, I might just set an alarm on my phone to do it like every other week or something. That might be an idea. Yeah, let us know in the chat. Let us know in the chat how you guys. Well, confession time. Honestly, how often do you change a needle? And there is no shame here. There is no judgment here, because for me, I probably do it every 3 months because I always forget. That's why I'm saying I really should set reminders. So yeah, full disclosure, I am not perfect or even close to it. I am naughty, and don't do it nearly as often. So yeah, for me, it's a couple of times a year. And if you are one of those wonderful people that do it on a regular basis, share your secret on how you do it. Do you set a reminder on your phone, or do you have it on a calendar? Do you do it after so many bobbins like Becca does, or do you have another wonderful idea that we could all learn from? Because I think this might be a good educational experience for everybody, myself included. Yeah. Okay, so Janice says when it breaks. That seems to be the most popular answer right now. Margie says I change the needle when I can hear it here, thud, thud, thud. Yeah, it's kind of me too. Like when I hear it, struggling, I know it's time to change it as well. Same thing with Heather. Good morning. It's good to see you as well. I don't know if you popped in earlier. Only change a needle if there's a problem, is what Brenda says when it breaks. Okay, so it looks like we are all in the same situation. So there we go. Okay, Jen. Okay, so Jen changes hers every Saturday.
Oh,
Candace is every project or two. Yeah, so I think maybe like maybe the first or 15th of the month might be an idea. Or when I get paid, that might be an
oh,
idea. Like every other week,
yeah.
payday is a needle change day because then I can afford to buy a new one. Okay, Kaz says, lucky with bananas, I think you can hear it when it needs oil and a new needle. Okay, so that's interesting. Okay. Susan says, thanks for letting me know that I won from Cotton Cuts. I got the bundle Halloween fat quarters and they are so stinking cute. I'm so glad that you won that and that you got those. When you win a prize from Cotton Cuts, they send you a wonderful little package. I've won it once or twice, and it's usually like 10 fat quarters they send you, and it's always cute little fabric. So I'm so glad to hear that. Laurie says, I am horrible at changing the needle. I do it when I clean my machine. That's when my machine sounds funky. So yeah, it looks like a lot of us are in that same situation. So maybe we could all try and make a that can be our New Year's resolution for 2025 that we can start now to change our needles more often. Because like Kristin said earlier, they're not expensive, especially if you buy them in bulk. Like I think you can buy like the box of them, like a box of 50 or something for like what, 25, 30 bucks or something. And it saves you a lot of hassle down the road. So there you go. Heather says she's been here a while, but my YouTube chat's been messing up. So just like, that's fine. I was just curious. I just want to make sure that I didn't miss you there as well. Susan says she'll admit I change it when it lets me know, like a caught street or it breaks. Yeah, I think a lot of us do. Okay, so Becca says I change my needle before every project, but also do machine embroidery. Yes, I think that makes a difference as well. Andrea says she recently won a whole bunch of needles, so I change them a lot more often than I used to. I used to change them when they were nagging the fabric. Now I change them on the 1st and the 15th. Oh, well. Yeah, so that's cool. And I've got a bunch here too. So
yeah, I get them in these little boxes on Amazon.
Yes, that's what I was thinking about. Yeah.
Yep, there's 100 in here, and the price varies. So sometimes I save them in my cart and see if the price goes down. So it varies by the size and just what time of year it is. So
it's like 35, 40, I think it is. Is that about right?
Something like that. Yep.
And Cyber Monday's coming up, so Amazon's going to have all sorts of wonderful deals. So if you are looking for that sort of thing, put them in your cart and wait till they go down, like Kristin said.
Yeah. And
that sort of thing there. And then I also have an affiliate code for Amazon if anyone is interested. It should be in most of my video descriptions, I think. You go find it as well if you want to do it that way. Okay, so here we go. We got that much done. So
it's adorable.
It is. It really is really cute. And then from here, the beard's got to kind of point down to the next 3 rows, and then he'll be done as well. So here we go. Okay, let's see. Nikki says, I change mine when I remember to, but I'm trying to be better about it. And Brenda says she won a bag of caramels from Primitive Gatherings for commenting. And I don't eat sugar and low carbs, but they will be Christmas packages. That's fun. And Janice says that she's sewing nets or jeans. She changes the needles for those as well. So, and then Andrea says you can send them to Donna. It's her favorite candy. Yeah, if you haven't seen already, I sent Donna a wonderful shirt the other day, which says spilling the tea, because she's always spilling the she says on her channel all the time she's spilling the tea about something. So I saw that when I was at Yorktown earlier this, a month or 2 ago, and I sent that up to her. So, and it was funny that you talked about your tea pattern as well, which was really fun. So, all right, so I've got that done. What did I do next? Y and AA. We'll start another row real quick before we run off. Then we'll have to say goodbye and see you'll come back soon. Do you have anything fun on your channel coming up that you want to tell us about, kind of give us a hint about, or anything else?
So right now I'm just working on those block of the months. I will probably share what I've been working on. My channel is I would say 95% about quilting, but I also do a little cross stitch, and I have a Christmas cross stitch that I finished. And I'm going to share when I finish the tea quilt. I hope to finish it next weekend. So I'll share it when it's all done, and then I'll get it quilted. So I'm mostly right now just doing my blocks of the month and sharing my finished projects.
Yeah, and that's awesome. And I like the different projects you pick because you're kind of like me and pick projects that are a little bit different to what most other people are doing. And that's something I enjoy myself
Yeah.
is, because you see a lot of people do this project or that project. It's always fun to see someone doing something a little bit different. So yeah, definitely go check it out. I'll put a link into your block of the month because the fabrics that you got for those are absolutely gorgeous. And so much fun to see there as well. So yeah, go check out Kristin's channel if you haven't done so already. And if you like, she'd love you to subscribe and all that good stuff as well. Let's see where your subscriber count is. We started off with 103 at the beginning of the
Oh,
thing,
wow.
and we're up to 108. So we are marching
Oh my
right
goodness.
along.
Thank
So
you so
that's awesome.
everyone. I so appreciate you. Thank you so much. And yeah, the one block of the month I'm working on uses Tula pink fabric, and that one's paper piecing. And I know that sometimes people get a little intimidated by paper piecing, so I've been showing how to do that. And then the other one is also a fat quarter shop block of the month, and that is that's the designer mystery. So each month there's a different designer that that submits their pattern, and then they give you a lot of extra fabric in that one. Like lots of people have enough to make a whole separate quilt top with that fabric. And then I have another quilt I'm working on. It's almost all flying geese, and I've been sharing that a couple of times. That one I designed myself. My friend had this fabric, and she's like, I have this fabric. I'm not quite sure what to do with it. I was wondering if you'd make a quilt. So I've been working on putting that together and then doing this this tea party quilt. So those have been my projects for right now.
That's awesome. Yeah, I just love the different colors and the different patterns that you picked, and that's one of the reasons that I was drawn to your channel and thought that you'd be a great fit. Because I love me some bright colors. If anyone's watched my channel for a while, my favorite color to sew with is rainbow. I like to put every color in the rainbow in a quilt wherever possible. For this, obviously, I'm not going to have yellows, greens, blues, pinks. Well, yeah, pinks we're going to have. But with the bigger projects, I like to have as many different colors as I physically can. So that is awesome. Janice says here that she feels inspired to get some sewing done today. Thank you for your life. That is so awesome. It's always nice to hear that we help in some small way. If you need more inspiration throughout the day, there's plenty more people to go check out. We have Donnell at 10. Let's throw this in. And then at 11, we should have Russ. And 1 should be Mom and Pop Quilt Shop. At 4, we'll have Deb S. And I think Katie goes live at the same time at 4. And then Stephanie at 5. And then tomorrow afternoon at 4, you can go check out Stephen as well. So there we go. All right. Oh, you have Spotlight in New Zealand too. I didn't realize that. She says, Kaz says she used to chuck a packet of needles in my trolley every time she went to Spotlight back pre-COVID. I have hundreds of needles. You'll be thankful for that now. But one word to the wise is I always feel like it's best to buy. If I can find something that's cheaper that works just as well, great. But needles, I feel like it's really good just to buy the name brand like the Chemettes or whatever its name. Because I bought some cheap off-brand ones from Amazon once. That was junk, absolute junk. My machine will take any needle. It hated those needles. So I will never ever buy a cheap needle again. Yeah, spend the extra pennies and get yourself a needle that's not going to cause you any frustration, because it may have just been a fluke that I found it was just an absolute waste of money. So that's my word to the wise there as well. Susan says, thanks for the early morning fun. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Do you have anything else, any last words of wisdom or?
Oh, well, remember, you quilt and sew to have fun. So have fun and enjoy it, even in the messing up. And thank you so much. I would love to see you over on my channel, KwilterKris. And thank you for having me and everyone being so encouraging and friendly. I really appreciate you.
Yeah, the audience is fantastic. I love having the audience here each week because, none of us are perfect, but they all love coming and hanging out with us. The link, if you're watching the live, is I put you down as KKris, KKRIS, because I already have another Chris, so I couldn't use that one. But anytime you're in the chat, if you want to check, if you can't remember, come back and check it out in the live as well. Feel free to drop your own link in the chat anytime that we're live, because I do like to support other quilters wherever I can as well. So everyone's saying goodbye. We are going to wrap up and say good morning. I hope you all have a great day. Go check out all my friends that are having lives today. They would love your support. I thank you each and every one for turning up. If you're watching the replay, tell us hi, g'day, and where you're watching from as well. I always love to see what parts of the country and the world my viewers are watching from. Check out Kristin's channel if you haven't already done so, and have a great day. And we'll see you all next Saturday morning for the next live, and I'll be back tomorrow for my podcast. Happy sewing. We'll see you soon.